Matt Field is the stylist for Sex and the City, so maybe someday we'll see Cottrell's character in one-legged trousers with leg irons. We understand why the editor of Vogue attends the shows, but an editor from National Geographic, the magazine, has done a fashion book.
This is fashion around the world and fashion through times.
Read about outfits made of reeds, or South Pacific Islanders wearing fish, or this towering turban from Burkina Faso. A former UN diplomat wears different outfits with the same theme throughout Fashion Week. Zebras one day, stripes the next.
I have a veritable zoo in my closet. You name it, I have it.
In one sense, fashion has reached new lows.
Yeah, they're Brazilian. It's like the latest trend. I've got lower ones, but I didn't want to scare the New Yorker.
I mean, these are really low jeans. Mm-hmm. I mean, you have to practically shave.
Yeah.
You have to shave?
Yeah.
But not the guy in the low riders with the lace-up fly.
No, I don't have that hairy problem.
The laces go on the shoes, not on the crotch.
You're never too young to be fashionable. Let's see whose shorts you got on. Oh, Ralph Lauren, nice, very nice. Some guys like to let the band of their underwear show.
It's his own little fashion trend because it's his diaper, it's not underwear.
Lo and behold. Jeannie Moe, CNN, New York.
Well, now that Jeannie has hit below the belt this morning, we're going to have CNN's Gail O'Neill, former model. She's going to be reporting on the ins and outs of Fashion Week in the next hour.
We love fashion. We love serving you. CNN Live at Daybreak continues right now.
This is CNN.
No bull. Michael Jordan hints he'll return to the court, this time as a Washington Wizard. Extensive coverage in this hour. There is something in the air.
It is 8 a.m. in Salisbury, North Carolina, 7 a.m. in Chicago, 5 a.m. in Calaveras County, California, where the news is being made on this Tuesday, September 11th.
From CNN Center in Atlanta, this is CNN Live at Daybreak. Good morning, I'm Vince Cellini.
And I'm Carol Lynn.
And we have lots to talk about in this next hour, lots of sports stuff, so I'm feeling good. It's been 3 years since Michael Jordan played in the NBA, June of '98, in fact. And he's got some knee troubles, so he's a little bit older. Some wonder if he has what it takes to make the grade in the NBA. We'll talk about that as he plans this comeback.
That's right, and at a time when government is shrinking, the U.S. Capitol is expanding. You're going to be talking to former Senator John Glenn about this new model of this visitor center, which at times was controversial, but I think it's kind of exciting that it's going to finally open up.
It really is. You know, the Capitol building is a 19th century building. I think it might be time for some renovation to get visitors in there.
Yeah, time to remodel.
It's a great project. But right now, we want to get a look at weather. Dave Hennon is with us. Dave, what do you got?
Hi, Dave.
Good morning, Carol and Vince. Watching Florida, that's where the problem area is expected again today. We certainly saw it yesterday. Much of South Florida saw some flooding yesterday. More heavy rains in the forecast today. Here's the radar. If you look very closely, see this counterclockwise circulation. That is an area of low pressure that is located in the Gulf of Mexico, being watched very closely by the National Hurricane Center for possible tropical development over the next couple of days. Flash flood watches in place again today over much of South Florida, including the Miami area. We saw the flooding yesterday, over 2 to 3 inches of rain in Miami, and we are looking at more additional heavy rain today. Elsewhere, pretty quiet today. Beautiful weather, Midwest, Northeast. We'll check the tropics, too. Talk about that with the next forecast in a few minutes. Vince?
Okay, thanks, Dave. Now, on the comeback trail, it looks like Michael Jordan will be back on the court this fall. The former Chicago Bulls star expected to announce that he's coming out of retirement at age 38 to play for the NBA's Washington Wizards. Chicago Tribune syndicated columnist Bob Green wrote Hang Time and Rebound, books about Michael Jordan. And Bob Green is with us in Chicago this morning. Good morning.
Morning.
You're also the author of a new book, Duty, a father, a son, and a man who won the war. And I know you're on a book tour. We appreciate you stopping by. Bob, when you heard all this comeback talk, out of retirement talk, did it give you an indication that Michael would indeed come back? What were your thoughts?
Well, he is always, you know, everyone talks about that last shot he hit to win the 6th championship as the perfect memory. But that's our memory. That's not his. And anytime I used to talk to Jordan about the concept of legacy, he would repeat the word almost as an obscenity, legacy. He says, I don't have a legacy, I have a life. And when he was retired the first time and playing baseball, and the Bulls were playing in Chicago at the United Center, there were many nights that Jordan would be 2 miles away downtown with a bunch of guys in their 40s in a health club playing pickup games. So it may be something just as simple as he wants to play basketball. The best players in the world play in the NBA, and to get the kind of competition he wants, that's what he may do.
You know, when Michael retired, he talked about, you know, I can go to carpool now and I can relax with my family, but yet and still he comes back as an executive and probably as a player. So did Michael kind of try to talk himself into thinking he could walk away from the game?
Well, I think for so long the world has said that Jordan is more than a basketball player and Jordan transcends basketball. But the fact is, he is a basketball player. That's what he is. That's what he loves to do. The guy can't sit still. And the idea of him being an executive, sitting in that executive suite making decisions, I mean, it may have seemed tangentially a good idea for him at the time. The NBA, I think, is going to have a problem with this because no matter what they say publicly about how wonderful this is, and their ratings will be huge when he comes back, if he comes back. The fact is, David Stern, the commissioner, and the owners have known for a long time that the day is going to come when they have to go on without Jordan. And they've done it twice already. And if he comes back, they're going to smile and welcome him, but they're going to realize, you know, they're just delaying the inevitable. There's going to be a day they have to live without Jordan. But it's not the NBA's decision. It's Michael's decision. And so many people for so long have put their own expectations on him. If he does this, I think he's doing it for himself.
Absolutely.
He wants to, you know, in his life, enjoy it.
Ultimately, Michael makes decisions, that's right, for himself in that regard. Bob, you know, you've got your finger on the pulse there in Chicago. It's sad in a way that it isn't happening in Chicago, that this is happening in Washington. And do you think part of this is Michael trying to stick it to general manager Jerry Krause and the Bulls, a Bulls team he probably should still be a part of?
There's certainly that as a part of it. But while the rest, you're right, while the rest of the world, should this happen, is going to say, isn't it amazing to watch Jordan back on a basketball court again? In Chicago, of course, it's going to be, here's Jordan, and the shirt says Washington on it. It's not going to compute real well here, and I think Chicago's going to be sort of watching it through squinted eyes. It's going to be a big international story should it happen, but locally in Chicago, it's going to be a pretty depressing thing to see. I mean, you've got the statue of Jordan in front of the United Center, but he told me once that he never even looks at the statue because he says, I'm not a statue, I'm a person.
Well, all they have is the statue now. Bob Green, thank you very much for your perspective. We appreciate you joining us this morning.
Thanks.
Thank you.
He's not a person, he's a legend.
Yeah,
that's why this is such a big deal.
He's an icon there in Chicago.
Right.
No
and every 40-year-old man is looking at him going, yo, go.
You know what? I could get back in shape, and I think, no.
And we'll be there to cover it.
And walk a flight of stairs.
All right, let's walk over to Kira Phillips, who's taking a look at the news today. Morning, Kira.
Hi, guys. Where we begin in the Middle East this morning, where Israeli tanks surrounded the West Bank town of Jenin earlier today. Gun battles broke out between local gunmen and Israeli forces, leaving several Palestinians wounded. Israel says it sealed Jenin because it was the staging ground for dozens of attacks by Palestinian militants. Meanwhile, truce talks tentatively set today between Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat and Israeli Foreign Minister Shimon Peres. They have been postponed. In Australia, a federal judge overturned the government's decision to turn away some 400 asylum seekers. The court says the mostly Afghan migrants now on their way to Papua New Guinea aboard a Navy ship must be allowed to land in Australia. Government officials say they will appeal the court's ruling. Jury selection begins today for a Texas hearing that will determine whether Andrea Yates is fit to stand trial. She's the Houston mother, you may remember, that was accused of drowning her 5 children in a bathtub in June. She's charged with 2 counts of capital murder for drowning 3 of them. Elizabeth Dole is expected to throw her hat into the ring today. She's expected to announce she's running for Jesse Helms' Senate seat in North Carolina. The announcement comes in Salisbury, North Carolina, her hometown. Dole once served as Secretary of Transportation and Secretary of Labor. Her husband, Bob, was defeated in the 1996 presidential race. Next, the safety of children's toys. Consumer advocates say they're not safe enough. They say the biggest danger, children choking to death. 16 children under 12 died from toy-related injuries in 1999. 9 of them choked to death. Consumer advocates say manufacturers should do more to guarantee toy safety. The governor of California has declared a state of emergency in a county where a wildfire destroyed a water system serving thousands of people. Authorities say the nearly 7,000-acre fire in Calaveras County is 50% contained now. So far, none of the county's 7,500 residents has been without water, but they've been asked to conserve. Carolyn Vince.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks, Kira. All right, it's your turn, everybody. We are asking what you think of Michael Jordan's return to the NBA.
Why don't you drop us a line? What are you waiting for? Daybreak at CNN.com. Be sure to include your name, where you're writing from. We'll get to the emails a little bit later in this hour. I'm interested to see what people have to say.
Yeah, make it juicy. In the meantime, you can go to our website and make your voice heard. You can go to CNN.com and cast your vote and check that out.
Wow.
Do you think Michael Jordan should return to play in the NBA? And so far, 66% there saying no.
I'm surprised, just from a curiosity factor. See him, wouldn't you want to see him just take the court one more time?
No, because you can't repeat a first love. You know, I just think that people are afraid he's going to stumble, and every time he goes out there, it's going to be 3 times more embarrassing.
Michael's an elite athlete. I think he knows what he's doing. He wouldn't do this if he didn't have a plan.
Yeah, all the ticket sales through the roof. I mean, it's going to be sold out. Still to come, though. We're going to be looking at this issue of tired of waiting outside in the summer heat or driving rain to see the U.S. Capitol.
Soon you won't have to. CNN has an inside look at the visitor center renovations. And a little bit later, the eye of the storm. Getting out of danger might be the most dangerous thing about a hurricane.
And get out your hip huggers, Vince. It's day 2 of Fashion Week here at CNN, and our Gail O'Neill is in the middle of it all. You look hot.
CSFB Direct. Direct access to 6 leading independent sources of research and to the top-ranked Credit Suisse First Boston analyst reports. That's the difference between online trading and direct investing from CSFB Direct.
After nearly a century of lending and leasing, CIT has learned to ride the ups and downs of changing conditions. We've learned to navigate the ins and outs of complex territories. And we've learned that it takes great strength to reach the top. And even greater balance to stay there. Discover why today's business leaders put their trust in today's financing leader, CIT.
Hi, Fred. Looks like IT will be jumping through hoops again today.
Fred, I sent out an email about the email being down.
I opened that virus just like you told us not to.
Hi, Fred. Looks like another all-nighter. Sorry.
At CDW, we understand what it can be like in IT. That's why you get computing solutions from your highly trained account manager and services designed to make your day a little easier.
What's wrong, Fred? We're only asking the impossible.
CDW, computing solutions built for business.
Somehow Amanda Lang is going to combine my 2 favorite subjects, food and fashion.
How will she tie them both together?
I don't know. It's in the news and business. Morning, Amanda.
Hi, Amanda.
I don't know if you would call this food, though. That's the only problem, Carol. Morning, Vince. We're looking at stock market futures gaining some ground here. It looks like there could be a nice pop when market action gets going, a little more than an hour. It's ketchup maker Heinz that we're talking about. H.J. Heinz and high-end retailer Neiman Marcus. We're watching shares of both. Both are out with quarterly results. Heinz posted slightly lower profit from a year ago. Neiman Marcus reported a wider-than-expected loss. Nokia, the world's biggest mobile phone maker, says it expects to meet earnings estimates for the 3rd quarter, and that's helping its shares rally in the pre-market, even though it also warned on sales for the quarter. And Dell is out with some bullish comments. The PC maker says it's well positioned for recovery in the sluggish computer industry. Dell has been one of the leaders in the ongoing computer price war, and in doing so, it has gained market share. Finally, cigarette makers Philip Morris, British American Tobacco, and Japan Tobacco have reportedly agreed to pull their TV and radio ads worldwide. The Wall Street Journal says the companies are pledging support to global standards set by the United Nations. That is business news. CNN Live at Daybreak. We'll be right back.
Financial News Updates is brought to you by Key. Achieve anything.
There will come a time when your work will end and your life will begin again. when you will be able to live life the way you want to. At Key, we synchronize the right people and the right resources like financial planning, insurance, and brokerage services from McDonald Investments, all to help you achieve your retirement dreams.